Commissioner of Education should be here to give greetings. He's not here as yet.
I just saw him.
Oh, here he comes. That's great.
Thank you, Doreen. It's a pleasure to get here, to be here. I am living in the two worlds of Boston schools today. And of course, with Chelsea in, that's an added joy. That's world one. That's sort of the political world. It's a world which bears so little resemblance, from my perspective, to what happens in the Boston schools that that's where I come by the metaphor of the two worlds of Boston education. Because as I listen to Doreen, to Charlie, to others, as I get more and more of an understanding about what's going on in the schools, I'm impressed with what fine things are happening. The incredible thing is what's being accomplished. Now, the other piece of this celebration is that I see in the Boston-Chelsea urban team work with the schools in both Chelsea and in Boston, that wonderful partnership beginning which has to do with children and what's happening for them. It was right in this room only a couple of months ago, not even that yet, less than 2 months ago, that a chorus from Chelsea High School, student leaders, came and stood here, and the sense of team, community of interest that was evident there was particularly evident because Marion Gillum, a man who works for the Department of Education, worked with the development of that singing because he happens to be a fine voice and skilled in choir directing. That kind of partnership makes you feel good. It makes everybody feel good. It's exactly what the human condition is all about. And that's why there is much reason to celebrate, and I use that as a kind of symbolic one, and we're now in the real world of the Boston schools, not in the political world of the Boston schools, to celebrate the extraordinary things that have been happening in those schools. I do thank you all for coming. Let's be sure we keep this world of Boston-Chelsea schools working the way it is, and we'll be doing right by the children whose lives we affect so deeply. Congratulations to you all. Well, my happy duty then takes me now to Chelsea and to Deanna Lamb, the superintendent.
Hello. It's actually quite nice to be among friends. Recently, I was reading the Harvard Review article. It's called From Affirmative Action to Affirming Diversity. And the article notes that mistakes at the cutting edge are different and potentially more valuable than mistakes elsewhere. And he argues that those people on the cutting edge, and I consider you to be some of those people, need some kind of pioneer training. But at the very least, they need to be told they are pioneers, that conflicts and failures come with the territory, and that they will be judged accordingly. Now, I joined Commissioner Reynolds, and I believe that Superintendent McDonough will be coming soon, in saluting those pioneers in each of the STAR schools who have bravely tried to restructure education to foster true teaching moments. It is for this vision of education that we celebrate today. You who are pioneers on the cutting edge are moving us closer. Let us remember each step on the way where it is that we are going and why it is we must go. Congratulations to all of you.
Now we have come to the heart of why we are really here today, is to celebrate the STAR schools, to hear from some of the schools that have been in existence now for a year, and really focusing on the people who are on the front line. And to present the presenters today, or to give a few words and introduce them, is Superintendent McDonough, who is always on the forefront himself in restructuring and is a friend of all who are planning on organizing schools around restructuring. Superintendent McDonough.
Thank you. I got a little nervous when I heard I used the phrase, always the forefront of, but then it came out of structuring, and I am all certainly for that. I have the pleasure, I guess the pleasurable duty of extending a warm welcome and I guess another hello or a second greeting to all those of you that have participated in the first cycle. You've just about completed the first of your 3-year effort. I have the special duty and pleasure, I guess, of welcoming some 11 new schools to the effort. And I will say to them, in a sense, the message I hope I expressed to the first group, that you are here, in a sense, your school is here, not for necessarily any lacking within you or within your school, within your staff, within your parental group or your school site planning council, but you are here because of a set of circumstances in some ways that were beyond your control. But you are here is the significant thing. And you are here and you have an opportunity, no matter how good your school is, to make it better. I see you right now, mainly because I'm here and you're the group I'm speaking to. You're in the forefront of our efforts. You're the key group. Success, and have a wonderful and productive experience with it. Thank you.
Each of these individuals have been asked to speak today for maybe 2-3 minutes. We're going to try to keep it short, and I know when people are excited, you just can't stop because there's so many good things are happening to you. You want to tell your story.
We have 3 houses, A team, Lighthouse, the early learners. Early learners consists of 350 kindergarten and early childhood students. So we also have the largest early childhood kindergarten program probably in the Northeast. It's been fun working at the Blackstone School because it's so innovative. Everything is so new. People are so excited. They're really excited to work in different programs. And now in the last, I noticed that there was a definite separation of bilingual programs between Lighthouse and A team. So I said, let's meet together, which we did. And since then, we have now one large parent center, not only for bilingual, but also for all parents to come in. The parents come in and they meet every Friday, and they share books. They take out books from the parent center. And the people who are from the Lighthouse, who used to invite parents on their own for workshops, are now meeting together with the A team, and they are now holding workshops together. My emphasis this year has been focused on 2 things: the children first. And my first mandate in the school was that no one, absolutely no one, would yell at any student, and students were to be treated as equals and human beings. That has gone through the school. People realize that I'm serious about this because if it's not for the children, we don't have teachers and we don't have schools. And also my other emphasis was on parents, getting more parents involved in the school, and we're doing that a lot more.
I'm very pleased to be here and have an opportunity to welcome aboard those schools that are beginning their school restructuring. When I thought about what words of encouragement I might have, particularly for those middle school and high school that are beginning their new journey, I thought of the question that I've heard repeatedly from our staff. What happens to our kids when they leave our school and our school organization? What happens to those kids when they go on to the junior highs and the high schools? Well, I guess you're our answer. You're continuing to pave the road for those of us in elementary school when we begin the root work. We thank you for continuing our work. We all know that restructuring is a process. It begins with the analysis of a model for the delivery of services to our students, and then it grows. Shirtliff has been restructuring for 3 years. I look around me now and I see a 2.5-hour block of uninterrupted basic skills time for reading, math, and language arts. I see small group instruction. I see grade level teams, team leaders, curriculum themes, and individual student plans. And finally, the rise in student scores. When I see the integration of a bilingual 5th grade classroom and a standard curriculum classroom for integration in all subject areas, when I see parents and teachers take the initiative to come together and decide that it's time to organize a parent-teachers organization, when I see staff take responsibility for their own staff development in-house, and I see teachers propose an integrated recess schedule for the entire school, and I see a parent task force and a school leadership council come together and write a grant to obtain funding for a parent room and a parent liaison worker, then I know that this isn't restructuring, that this is an entirely new structure altogether. We at Shirtliff have experienced this kind of change.
What I'm going to tell you this afternoon is my perception of change at the Dickerman School. The initial impact of change on faculty, myself specifically, the nuts and bolts that we have tightened and broken in the process of trying to pull it off, and some future considerations I would recommend. The restructuring format was to divide the school into 3 teams. Kindergarten, first, second, and third grade, and an elementary cluster. A cluster in the sense that we located in geographic parts of the building. From the perspective of Chapter 1, being a Chapter 1 teacher, in the past I knew what that meant. The federal government told me what that meant. And told me I'd better know what that meant. I had my room, I had my materials, I had my chairs, I had my pencils, I had my paper, I had my walls to hang my stuff on and their stuff on, my kids' stuff on. Now, you could think of me as a tourist. I have my wagon, which has my pencils, my materials, my paper, I don't have walls, I don't have chairs, but I at least haven't figured that out yet. I have my computer in tow, so I roll from class to class and do what needs to be done.
I gotta tell you, when I get around teachers or educators, I get very hopeful feelings, and that's a nice thing to be able to say and feel in these, quote, dark economic times, end quote. We thought there would be a few people who would want to do something for the Tobin School in a very personalized way. We have 327, 28 employees at Channel 5. We had more than 180 people show up and enlist in either pen pals or do different things. We had more than 100 come forward to want to do something. How do we work together, communities with schools, with the private sector, so that everybody feels good? I've gotten into the, unfortunately, into the business end of this campaign stuff in the last year, and there's a term called win-win-win. Hey, it's a win-win-win situation. You know, you got your sponsors, they win, and Bank of Boston was certainly a winner, but at the same time, Bank of Boston led the way for doing things for education in Boston. And Boston Edison also got involved in a big way. They win. We won because our shows were successful and we got good ratings and we got to sell more shows. That's great. But what happened in microcosm at Channel 5 with our employees getting involved with the Tobin School is the only way that I can say that my job truly is one of the best in the country, because we get to see things work personally for people that help the community in the long run.
What the Star School project has done for our school is focus our enthusiasm and energy so that all of us teachers and community groups and parents and students have really the same ideas, and we all want to do the same things. But now, because we have identified what we want to do and divided up the work as colleagues, we are actually doing amazing and remarkable things, truly. I'm not going to have time to talk about all of them, but I want to tell you some of the things that really impressed me the most. There's a professional development committee that has organized professional development based on the needs that teachers have expressed and have used the resources and the talent in the school to satisfy those needs. So we have professional development on cooperative education, thematic education, math and literature, all conducted by excellent teachers at our school. We also have called in experts from the outside to supplement our needs in cooperative education and conflict resolution. And we've developed a proposal that hopefully next year will allow us to integrate conflict resolution and multicultural education in with our thematic education and cooperative education. So the School Climate Committee is dedicating a special focus to the children this year The committee feels that it's done really well with improving communications among the staff, and the focus for the children is the cafeteria, the place where everything starts to go wrong in our school. So because we were in there for professional development classes, we realized how ugly our cafeteria really is, and we've put a lot of elbow grease into scrubbing everything off the walls, and parents have volunteered, and soon in April we will paint our school cafeteria. Mind you, a lot of these projects really take a lot of energy and very little money. Another thing that has been valuable as a teacher there at the Sarah Greenwood School is our involvement with community groups. Arts in Progress has orchestrated a wonderful arts and cultural festival throughout our school. Educators for Social Responsibility has conducted conflict resolution classes that now are educational units that teachers are bringing to life in their classrooms. Mass Mental Health provides us with wonderful services through the SCAT team for our students that helps children, for example, who are recent immigrants. Some of our students have recently immigrated from different countries that are going through war-like experiences, and the SCAT team has organized discussions with the students, and many other violence prevention and drug prevention and crisis intervention programs that are alive and integrated right into the classroom. As a resource room teacher, I have had the opportunity to design a program with my colleagues that services the special needs children, the bilingual special needs children, right in the classrooms. And depending on what the teacher would like to do and the students in the classroom, we have used science as a theme to teach language. We use manipulatives to help students in the math class, or we have an accelerated reading program using the Voyage of the Mimi, which is a middle school curriculum for the upper elementary grades for students who are very far behind in their reading. The Star School format is a good way to harness our energy and our excitement and our commitment to our children.
I'm here to give you a parent's point of view. I was very pleased to find out that I only had 3 minutes to speak because I don't have very much to say. You see, my daughter Gina's only in kindergarten 2. So she's new to the system and I'm new to the system, and of the observations that I've made, the first one is that kindergarten is very, very different from what it was when I was in kindergarten in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Secondly, I don't know too much about the STAR because I was not here in the pre-STAR days, so I can't tell you of how much it's changed everyone's lives. I do know that what I've seen is very positive, and I know that Gina's getting a very good kindergarten education. The two main components of the program at the Mozart School are the whole language approach and the integrated special needs, the special needs children who are integrated into Gina's class, kindergarten 2. Of the whole language approach, I should say whole language is still somewhat a buzzword to me, but I hope to be learning a lot more about it because one of the teachers is beginning to formulate workshops for the parents to teach us how to be teachers at home, how to integrate our children's education into everything that we see. And I think I'm beginning to get the idea of that already when I hear Gina tell me I want to go over to Laura's house. Laura, that's an L word, like Lewis and Lion. Our resource teacher, like Mr. Hardy, also goes into the classrooms rather than pulling the children out, and I understand is getting very good results. We have a school store where the children earn tokens, and the kindergarten 1 approach, the K1 approach, I understand is very different. It's a developmental approach to learning. The children learn a lot through play, and they learn as they are ready. So it's much more geared to the individual child. The facet of the changes that have been taking place at the Mozart, the one change that's I've noticed, and I was very well aware of before I brought Gina into the Mozart, and is one of the reasons that I did select it, was the integrated special needs program. It brought the ratio down in her classroom to 18:1. There are 2 K2 teachers. Each class has 18 children, with 1 teacher in each class plus another teacher who rotates between the 2. So of the 18 children, 6 are special needs children. Now, as an outsider, I don't really know how that affects the class, how things are going. I did think that it was a good idea, and I was really pleased that Gina was going to be getting exposure to all different kinds of children and children with different needs. And I thought in general it was a good idea that these children could be learning from someone like Gina. When the teacher tells you to raise your right hand, oh yes, this is the one I raise. Now every Tuesday morning I read to the kindergartners. I sit down in one of those little tiny chairs in the front of the class, and 18 children crowd as close as they can possibly get to me. And I think it speaks highly of the integrated program that of the 18 children, I know that there are 6 special needs children, but I have no idea, after all of these weeks of reading to the children, which 6 they are. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. You must be very brave. But I can't help saying that last year, when we had the first Cycle 1 star schools, people got up and spoke nervously because they had no idea what being a star school meant. Why am I a star school? What am I going to get out of it? I feel like I was in prison or a bird in a cage, and you open the cage and I don't know how to fly. And people were very nervous about what that meant for them. So it is really exciting to hear them today talking about all the benefits and the rewards of being a star school. So I hope Cycle 2 Star School, you can move even faster because you have the example of Cycle 1. It's really rewarding. And I know it would happen one day when parents and community people become part of the teaching team for students. I don't think one can do without the other. Although the public officials aren't here, some of them did call in and said if I couldn't make it, because they were also at the hearing, but if I didn't make it, I want to hear a report about what went on today. So be assured that the team will be sending a report to all of them. And before Charlie speaks, I really wanted to give my final thank you. And the fact that they aren't here will give you a chance to go around and look at some of the display and enjoy the wonderful food that's being prepared by students from the Madison Park Humphrey Resource Center. They're the ones. Let's give them a hand. It's really good. Since we aren't allowed to spend the state's funds and all, they creatively figured a way out as to how they can contribute to this event. So we really thank them. And I did want to thank the speakers. As I said, you are very brave, and we appreciate that, and the commissioner, and the superintendent, and the other officials from Boston.
I just want to make a couple of observations. One is that this morning at the hearing, which is where our legislators, I assume, are still, or at least in the aftermath of it, I got very hot under the collar because in the course of the rhetoric about why there was a need for governance change, there was a lot of gratuitous bashing of the Boston schools. And from all we've been hearing the last hour, we know how deeply unfair that is. In fact, I think wonderful things are happening in the Boston schools. I've had my own children in the Boston schools for this is the 21st year. I have three now in the Boston schools, and I have 2 more just waiting to start as soon as they're old enough. So that I obviously have expressed my own confidence in it. It was annoying to hear a highly respected person this morning saying that no responsible parent would have their children in the Boston schools. You and I know that isn't true, that we're doing wonderful things, and I think that our task today and in the next weeks has to be in every way we can think of to get out the positive message about what is going on, the kind of energies that are going into making a real difference for kids that you live every day. The other note I wanted to end with was I heard the remark about how we needed to get our act together about the conflicting policies, as it may at times seem, between the state and the school systems. Actually, the whole idea of the Star School effort began in discussions with Joyce Grant and Charlotte Harris and others over a year ago, when we said, how can we make a real difference in schools? And we said, well, maybe now if the state would be willing to give up some of the ways it tries to tie strings on things, and if Court Street were willing to give up some of the ways it tries to tie strings on things, and we could together agree upon a simple vision of effective schools that we could support, and a process that would help schools to go through all the painful efforts of it, that we could maybe cut through a lot of the ways in which what we do is not helpful to education. Now, we've honestly tried with that, and we know that there are a lot of things left that need to be done. In fact, Mary Grassa O'Neill and I are meeting with some principals next week about some ways in which schools want to find other ways of doing things that will require waivers of state regulations. These are the kinds of things we're eager to have you identifying, things that either out of Court Street or out of the state are making it hard for you to provide the best possible educational program that you can. If you are willing to be bold about being organized in different, more effective ways, we are committed. I know that Superintendent McDonough, Superintendent Lamb, and Commissioner Reynolds, and all of us are committed to helping you find the ways in which you can, in fact, educate differently. And I want to offer that as a challenge in hopes that you will then come back and challenge us and say, now you promised we could do things in different ways. We've come up with a responsible way of educating that doesn't follow the usual course. Help us find a way to do this. And our promise is that we will. Thank you.